They are counting on the fact that the Democrats in the House of Representatives will loosely throw around the term innocent Palestinian civilian and not question who that is at all. Hey everybody, I hope as always that you've had a great week. First and foremost, happy Veterans Day to all of those who served this nation. It's an honor to call you my brothers and sisters in arms. And in that group, happy birthday to you Marines out there, Semper Fi. Appreciate every single one of you. As always, I'm here with an update on what's happened in Washington, D.C. this week. It was certainly an interesting week, so I want to get started on a few of the things. Now, one of the most laughable things that's happened to me since being in Congress, although it's not a laughable situation as a whole, is Democrats trying to censure me. Now, if you don't know what censuring is, it's basically the House taking a vote on a deep disapproval for some sort of conduct or action that a member of Congress has taken. It doesn't mean that they can expel you, but they're taking a vote to saying what you did is terrible. Now, there's one representative from California, Sarah Jacobs. She tried, and very unsuccessfully, I might add, tried to censure me for just telling the truth about Hamas and Palestinians.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that Brian Mast be censured.
And what is that truth that I was trying to tell? Number one, I did absolutely make the point that there are innocent Palestinian civilians. That's the truth. There are 5-year-olds out there that don't even know what country they live in, much less why there are bombings and attacks and things like that going on around them. There are innocent people there. But what she didn't want to acknowledge is that just because somebody is not Hamas, just because somebody doesn't have a black hood and a green bandana and call themselves Hamas or Palestinian Islamic Jihad or Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade or something else, it doesn't mean that they're not combatants. It doesn't mean that they're not fighters. We realize that very much so in Iraq and Afghanistan in our last 20-year wars. You are facing people that the Hamas Health Agency says are all civilians, but they're not. They're actually fighters. Not all civilians are women, and not all fighters are men. Many of the fighters are women. They're not just men. Not all of the fighters are adults. Some of them are under the age of 18. But those by the Hamas Health Ministry are classified as civilian children, even though they might be 15 years old carrying a Kalashnikov and shooting at somebody else. But they don't register it that way. Do you notice anything glaringly missing from what I just mentioned to you from the Gaza Health Ministry report?
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're referring to.
Combatants. They didn't mention the word combatants
No,
at all.
because they mingle them.
Exactly. And until they recognize that, they are going to be played for fools. They're sucking up a hoax. They're being bamboozled. They're being taken for a ride because the truth is there are a lot more fighters out there than just Hamas. And they wanted to censure me for telling the truth about what war really is. So again, here's why making that point is so dangerous. It demonstrates the willingness of members of the United States House of Representatives to buy the Hamas propaganda hook, line, and sinker. It demonstrates that you have people in positions of power in America getting duped, hoodwinked, bamboozled, snowed by a terrorist organization, just like the Associated Press, the New York Times, Al Jazeera, and all of these Democrats in Congress did when they were telling the Al-Aliyah hospital bombing lie, trying to make the case that 500 people were killed in a hospital by an Israeli airstrike when we know that was not the truth. It was a Palestinian Islamic Jihad rocket that misfired and hit the parking lot of a hospital. It's just another example of the lies that they're trying to tell. But what happens? That lie, those people buying into those lies, and member of Congress buying into those lies, it leads to billions of people believing that Hamas and those that support them, they're just victims. They're just poor victims, and the Israelis are monsters. And that's what leads to the rise in anti-Semitism, hate crimes against Jews, calls for a ceasefire, calls to make a second state, a two-state solution out of the Palestinian people that no matter if it's Hamas or Fatah or some other group want no existence of the Israeli people. I'm not going to apologize for exposing the lies of the enemies of the United States of America, those that have Americans held hostage, those Palestinians that have killed Americans. Quite frankly, it's concerning to me that so many have bought that lie, that they believe that I am an Islamophobic member of the KKK for questioning which people of the Palestinians are innocent Palestinians and which people are not. Because if you're not questioning who that is, then you are actually failing to distinguish between innocent and non-innocent. You have to take the time to do that, especially if you're in these positions of responsibility. Now, ultimately, Democrats withdrew the resolution because they knew they were going to get destroyed. I was going to hammer them on this, and they were going to look like absolute idiots, which in many cases they are here in the House of Representatives. I was a little bit disappointed that they withdrew it because I was looking forward to hammering them on this and exposing them for just how stupid they have been on this issue, but they decided they didn't want to have the battle. Those people, like one of my committee members, Gregory Meeks, that literally asked me if I was a member of the KKK for asking these questions, he didn't want to have that battle. Sarah Jacobs didn't want to have that battle because she knew she was getting played for a fool, but they're going to keep getting played for fools. But again, they backed out of the battle. That's there. It was probably wise for them to retreat, but that's it. So, switching gears here. On the House floor this week, we continued our work on the appropriations bills. Now, as a refresher, House Republicans are committing to passing 12 individual spending bills so that we can rein in federal spending. And in September, a continuing resolution was passed to keep the government open while we continued to work on those 12 individual pieces of legislation. We made a lot of progress in passing those bills. The Senate has taken up none of them because the Senate is not interested in taking up 12 individual appropriations bills. They just want to go out there and have a continuing resolution, spend more money, not look at all the programs individually. Chuck Schumer and the Democrat majority, they're not interested in passing those. And now we're just 6 days away from the deadline set by the September continuing resolution before there's a government shutdown again. With that in mind, I have a simple suggestion to Speaker Johnson and Leader McConnell. Republicans need to work together. In my nearly 8 years in Congress, there has yet to be a time where all of the Republicans, senators and representatives, or Democrat and Republican senators and representatives get together behind closed doors to just deal with things like this, like continuing resolutions or government shutdown or funding the government or things related to that. It drives me crazy that this doesn't take place, and I hope it's one of the things that Speaker Johnson will change. Be different, get everybody into the same room so that everybody can actually at least try to get to a good place. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but you gotta try to do it. It's crucial that all Republicans in Washington get on the same page. We'll be back here in Washington next week, and funding the government will be top on the to-do list, so stay tuned. Again, have an amazing Veterans Day. To all of my brothers and sisters in arms, I love you. I love you to my core. I salute each and every one of you. I look forward to seeing you all around. You all take care. Hey everyone, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please click like and subscribe. I will be back on YouTube with more exclusive content, so stay tuned.